Under the pale morning sun, a convoy of trucks winds its way through the battered roads of Al-Zawaida, a town that now marks the threshold between Gaza's south and its hollowed north. Each truck is crammed with people and memories, with mattresses, broken furniture, and the remnants of a life paused by war. The dust rises behind them like ghosts, silent, stubborn, and unyielding. These are the displaced of Gaza, heading back to what once were their homes. 2 years of relentless war have turned northern Gaza into a skeletal landscape of ruin. Yet as these families move northward, hope clings to them. Fragile, flickering, but alive. The journey is slow, often halted by debris, collapsed roads, and military checkpoints. Drivers honk as they inch forward, waving at others making the same pilgrimage. The sound of engines and murmured prayers fills the air, a symphony of survival. Among the passengers is Khaled, a mother of 5, her face half hidden beneath a worn scarf. She clutches a small photo frame, the only thing she managed to save when the bombs fell on her home in Beit Lahia. "I want my children to see where we lived," she says softly. "Even if it's only rubble now, it's ours." Her words capture the spirit of a people returning not to comfort, but to belonging. The convoy moves past fields long scorched and towns erased from the map. Entire neighborhoods once teeming with life are now mounds of concrete and twisted metal. The smell of dust and decay lingers in the air. Occasionally, a fragment of color, a child's toy, a painted wall, a surviving olive tree, breaks the monotony of grey. These small signs remind everyone aboard that life, however battered, can persist. At the edge of Jabalia, the first stop for many returnees, scenes of desolation unfold. Walls are riddled with bullet holes. Streets, once bustling with markets, now echo only with footsteps. Yet even here, amid ruin, people begin to rebuild. Men clear debris with shovels, women pitch tents over cracked pavements, and children chase each other between the wreckage. One father, holding a plank of wood, says, "We have no tools, no power, but we have hands, and we'll use them." Aid convoys occasionally cross paths with these returning families. Humanitarian groups attempt to deliver food, water, and medicine, but resources are stretched thin. The United Nations estimates that over 90% of Gaza's population has been displaced at least once during the war. Now, thousands risk everything to return north, defying warnings about the lack of infrastructure, electricity, or clean water. For them, the cost of staying in overcrowded shelters in the south outweighs the fear of starting over amid rubble. Further north, in Gaza City, the devastation deepens. Entire districts, Shujaya, Zaytun, and Tal al-Hawa, lie in ruin. From a distance, the skyline looks like broken teeth against the horizon. Yet people are already staking claims to the ruins, spray painting names on surviving walls, marking where their homes once stood. One teenager writes his family's surname on the side of a crumbled wall. "So they know," he says, "this was ours." Everywhere, the story's the same. Loss and resilience intertwined. A woman in Beit Hanun sets up a small fire to boil water in what used to be her kitchen. A man hangs laundry between 2 skeletal walls. Children dig through the rubble looking for toys, books, or anything that might still carry a trace of the life they knew. There is grief, yes, but also defiance, the refusal to disappear. Across Gaza's ruins, the sound of returning life begins to echo. Mosques with missing minarets broadcast the call to prayer once again through crackling speakers powered by car batteries. In some neighborhoods, local committees distribute what little aid they have: a bag of flour, a bottle of cooking oil, a handful of candles. It is not enough, but it is something. And for people who have survived bombings, hunger, and exile, something is everything. At night, the landscape changes. Fires burn in metal drums, casting orange light over the rubble. Families gather around them, cooking simple meals of lentils and rice. Children fall asleep to the rhythm of distant generators. Above, the stars shine through an unusually clear sky, a quiet reminder that nature still endures where politics has failed. This return, spontaneous, desperate, unorganized, is not a government initiative or a political gesture. It is a human instinct, a response to the unbearable weight of displacement. After years of confinement in temporary shelters, people are reclaiming what little remains of their homes. The journey north has become both a physical and emotional odyssey, a way of saying we are still here. But the dangers remain immense. Unexploded ordnance litters the ground. Mines and collapsed tunnels pose hidden threats. Aid agencies have warned that much of northern Gaza is uninhabitable. Hospitals have been reduced to shells. Schools are flattened. Water pipelines are destroyed. Still, convoys continue. Old trucks, donkey carts, motorbikes carrying entire families, inching forward through the wasteland. Each returnee carries a story. A man from Gaza City recalls how he fled during the first wave of bombings, leaving behind his bakery. "I built it with my father," he says. "When I go back, I want to find even one piece of that oven. That will be enough." For him, the ruins are not a symbol of defeat, but a place to rebuild dignity. In Khan Yunis, a group of young volunteers has formed a small convoy of their own, trucks loaded with basic supplies, tents, nails, wood, and plastic sheets. "We can't wait for help," one of them says. "We must start now." They drive north daily, distributing what they can to those returning. Their determination mirrors that of a population that refuses to be erased. As the trucks pass through what used to be checkpoints, the landscape opens into vast stretches of emptiness. Fields once green with wheat are now brown and barren. Still, some farmers have begun clearing the land, pulling out twisted metal and concrete slabs. "If I can plant even one row of tomatoes," says one farmer, "then I have started again." His optimism stands in stark contrast to the devastation around him. The return movement has become a quiet revolution, not of politics or ideology, but of endurance. It is the ordinary people, not leaders or negotiators, who are redefining what survival means. In makeshift classrooms, teachers gather children to read by lantern light. In courtyards filled with debris, weddings are held, small, improvised, but joyful. The laughter that returns to Gaza's ruins carries more power than any speech. Even in the darkest corners of this war-scarred territory, the idea of home continues to breathe. Home, not just as a place of shelter, but as memory, identity, and defiance. A mother rebuilding a wall with her bare hands does so not because she expects safety, but because she refuses to surrender the space where her children took their first steps. International aid groups call the return premature and unsafe. But to the people of Gaza, it is overdue. They have waited too long in the South's crowded tents, too long for promises that never arrived. Now they are moving forward on their own terms, into danger, into ruin, but also into self-determination. Each kilometre reclaimed is a small act of resistance against despair.